This is our first season of IndiThoughts, and we are privileged to have a very dear friend and a very accomplished writer also, Mr. Shreekant Vijaykar. He is a close friend and he comes as a director of Asia of COPC. So I'll request Shreekant to please introduce himself and talk about his personal life, his professional life. So over to Shreekant.
Thank you, Gaurav. It's a privilege to be on this one of the first few on your podcast. Very happy to be here, and thank you for the invite. I wish you very best for your podcast series. Thank you for that introduction. For the listeners, my name is Shreekant Vijaykar. I'm the director of Asian operations for a company called COPC. We are a consulting firm. For the last 25 years. This company has been consulting organizations on customer experience, how to get your customer experience better. So even before customer experience was, the cool thing to do. Right? We were telling people that get your customer experience right? That is important. That is your battleground. That is where you should be, fighting for, right? Because people are not buying products or services, right? They are buying an experience. When you buy a bullet, right? Gaurav, you and I, we've been biking now for 20 years, right? When we buy a bullet, we don't buy just the machine, right? We buy the entire experience along with it, right? And that is true for everything. Right? You buy an Apple phone, you buy anything, right? This is generally a product and a service and the experience. You go to Starbucks, you don't just buy the coffee. So this is basically the area that we have been working on, and the operational side, not the marketing side of it. So it's not magic. It doesn't happen just like that, right? You have to get it done. You have to relentlessly follow it and do it. So that's pretty much what my my area has been for the last 12, 13 years. I've been in this field. Before that, I was working in different organizations. I worked in manufacturing, worked in services, worked in Asian Paints for some time, worked in HCL, TCS. So, all of that. And I've done my MBA from SPJ. And so it kind of went through that journey, right? And here we are.
Awesome. So in very brief, you discussed about the customer experience. So the overall experience your professional life has always been customer centric. You moved from various organizations, but your core has always been customer centric or customer experience. Now, coming to your personal life, I see that you are a rider, as you and I were connected through riding.
Yeah.
What else do you do? I see that you are a foodie also. You write about food. You talk about food in your blogs, in your Facebook, on your Instagram. I see that you have written book about Hinduism. So what is it? How do you get so much of time? How do you break your time? How do you do that?
Actually, I don't. I just go with the flow, right? To tell you very honestly, I don't plan things. And in fact, this is one of the things that maybe I want to also talk to the listeners. When Gaurav, you reached out to me and you said that I want to talk about your formula for success, and I told you I don't have either. Don't have formula, don't have success. But to a certain extent, right? The idea is that I just keep doing certain things, right? And whatever interests me, I spend a little bit more time on it. Let me just tell you a couple of things that I do. Right? So one is that we run a pop-up kitchen. So right now I'm in Mumbai. Actually, I flew down yesterday. I'm born and brought up in Mumbai. I belong to a very special and a very small community called Pathare Prabhus, which are local original residents of Mumbai. So we have our own cuisine, right? And in fact, before COVID, we used to do quite often. Now, because of COVID, we've kind of changed that model a little bit. But that's one of the things that we do, where we do a pop-up kitchen, right? What that means is that we open the kitchen for a time, right? People will come in, they eat, and I talk to them about the history and the culture and things like that. So that's one thing, which is where the food part comes in, right? Being a foodie, naturally, that kind of comes to me. The second thing, the book that you talked about, actually, it's not on Hinduism, it is on Hindu mythological tales. Right? So mythology has been a great interest to me, not just Hindu mythology, but generally most of the mythological tales, right? And what I try to do, so I've been writing a blog for about 13 years. So now, due to COVID, I had a little bit more time, so I decided you have seen that before. So that book I
Yes.
show you. It's called Names, Places, Events, Things.
Yes. We will be putting the link of this book in the description section also.
Sure.
And we'll also be putting the link for the pop-up kitchen for the audience to see that what do you do with the food.
I can send that to
So,
you.
yeah.
Sure. So what this book has, it's about 600 pages. It's a pretty big, heavy book, as you can see. So
Yeah.
what it has is it's got names. So some of the famous, not so famous names from Hindu mythology. Some of the places, right? Places of worship, places of conflict. Some of the mythical kingdoms, right? So those kind of things. Events, of course, entire mythology is about events. So ek ke baad
Yes.
ek, right? What has happened, right? So basically, stories have come from Vedas, Puranas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, right? And then things,
Yes.
some of the special kind of things like the gems, the measurement of unit, the measurement of time, right? These kind of
Wow.
things which are very special to
Mhm.
Hindu mythology. So I tried to break that down into those four sections. I
Awesome.
think people will find that enjoyable to read. So for those of you who are who like that subject, people who like history, people who this is not a religious book. This is not a book on any particular ism. It is more about these are nice. There are about 120 stories in the book,
Wow.
right? They are
Wow.
written in the form of stories as well as written in the form of essays and thought
Okay.
experiments.
Okay.
So, how is this? How is that? Right? That kind of a thing. And how do you link things, right? So that is how I have
Yeah.
written.
Yeah.
It's doing pretty well, actually. I'm just started. I published it in July and,
Awesome.
getting some good reviews out of it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. No, definitely we'll go through this book. We'll definitely want to learn about our mythology because mythology is so much of things which we would not have read in our schools or in our colleges. And this
Yeah.
is a good way to learn about those.
Yeah,
So great.
absolutely. I mean, this is not a beginner's book. It is for people who already know a little bit about Hindu mythology. Yeah? At least you should know Ramayana. This is what has
Right.
happened.
Right.
And then Sita got kidnapped and Ravan came. But then,
Right.
do you know enough about Shatrughna, for example? So there is an essay about
Okay.
Shatrughna, right?
Wow.
There is an essay about Vali and Sugriv and their relationship, right? So these are
Mhm.
things that people don't talk enough about, but there is enough
Correct.
information and there are beautiful
Correct.
stories available, right? So the idea was to bring that to people.
Awesome, awesome. So thanks a lot for introducing this book to Indie Thoughts. So what we wanted to know is that how have you been able to design your life? Or I'll say
Uh,
the design of your life. How is it had been? Because when you were in school or in college, did you
yeah.
think about customer experience or did you think about
So,
maybe writing a book or what was your aspiration? And when 20
uh,
years down the line today you're sitting here are you still thinking, boss, I have achieved it. I wanted to do this. I have done that.
I think one of the things that drives me is that I know for a fact, and this is, by the way, a proven thing, right? So when I was doing my PhD, I did it in decision science, right? So and
Okay.
decision making.
Mhm.
So one of the things that is a proven thing, right, is that people have more regrets and less disappointments. So जब
Mm.
आप कुछ करते हो, उससे आप
Right.
disappoint जब होते हो, right? वो कम
Right.
होता है.
Right.
जब आप
Right. Right.
नहीं करते हो उसकी जो रिग्रेट है वो बहुत ज्यादा होती
Yeah. Correct.
है.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
So I kind of redefined to a certain extent. Once I started to get that, right, and I think 20-25 years ago, that must have somewhere things must have triggered. So
Right.
what I will share a secret with you. Okay, what I do is that every year for my birthday, I put up a project for myself. It's a secret project. I don't
Okay.
tell anyone.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
and I do it. I try to. So it can be as simple. So for example, so every year I have something that I will come up with. I'll say, okay, so this year I will start a blog on writing, on
Awesome.
traveling, right?
Awesome.
Next year I will say, Acha, that doesn't mean that I will continue to do it. I will get it started. Right? So, so each year, right? So I mean, and birthday is just because of whatever, right? I mean, there has to be
It's a milestone. It's a
some
milestone for you.
milestone. So, ठीक है,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the milestone, and to make it a little bit more personal. So I commit to myself कि every year I will do something. So इस साल I will come up with a book. This साल I
Awesome.
will try to do something. इस साल I will. Sometimes it can be as simple as I will rearrange my. So I used to paint.
Okay.
And I have several slates of my plate, my
Wow.
paintings, but they are lying out. So this year, of course, I did the book, But there was another thing that I had as a project. So that was that I take my earlier portfolio and I will rearrange it and make it into a place where I can put it out on some social media, maybe on Instagram or whatever. So it can be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be anything grandiose. But every year, I've just kind of tried to. I'm not a very disciplined person, to be very honest, right? So I cannot have any rigor as such. कि मैं हर रोज उठ के I will do certain things. That doesn't happen with me.
Right.
But I think for me, the rhythm is maybe once a year, maybe once in 6 months, right? If I put it that way, it kind of happens. So over time, right? To answer Gaurav your question, long story short, over time these things have kind of consolidated into small.
Mini projects,
mini projects,
Yeah,
bit of achievements. And then now I look back, I say, "ठीक है, मतलब it has not been too bad."
Right, right. No, but looking at the success stories are more than the failures, and taking to your anecdote which you mentioned about regrets, and then the analogy about how not doing something can make you regret it. That why did you not do it? So I think that analogy needs to be taken care by everyone, all the listeners, because unless and until you try something and you fail on it, you'll still be thinking, "काश मैंने वो किया होता."
हाँ, exactly. तो
So
वो जो
so
रिग्रेट
so.
की जो भावना है वो बहुत ज्यादा होती है. डिसअपॉइंटमेंट वी कैन स्टिल मैनेज कि भाई कर तो लिया, कुछ तो ट्राई किया.
Right.
I'll tell you an example, right? I'm also a major movie buff, right? So I watch a lot of movies. I thought that, chalo, what I will do is that I will write. So I took this idea from one of the magazines. I don't know which one, but they had 52 weekend gateways, right?
Okay.
So I said, why don't I do this?
It's
So
It's Outlook magazine.
Outlook में है, हाँ, right? So
Yeah.
2016, right? I said that I will write 50. I will watch 52 movies, okay, and I will write about them.
Oh, very
Right?
good.
Naturally, वो नहीं हुआ. Of course, you can imagine. Right? But what started happening? So first of all, I made a list. I have a list of 52 movies that I must see. Some of them I already watched. I wanted to rewatch them. Okay. I started to write and I wrote about 10 reviews. So about 10, 12 weeks, I did it religiously.
Awesome.
Right? I wrote so what happened is now, that, by the way, that is there on WordPress. There is a blog. It's there on WordPress, but it became defunct in 2016, right? Because after that I stopped. However, what happened is that it prompted me to write other things,
Right.
which led me to write my first book is about, actually I write poems in Marathi. So there is a book on Marathi poems. So that got published, and then this one, right, also kind of got done because I got into the mood of writing. Right. So although
The
it
rhythm
was
was
failed,
set.
it is a failed project, right? It is still live, and who knows, maybe tomorrow I will pick it up again, right?
True.
But the point is that helped me to at least finish this book, so that maybe that answers your question about.
Yes, it does. It does. Because what we're targeting is the audience who is just coming out of college, or who are looking at corporates, or are looking at uh, people like you who are already established in the industry, who are already there. They're not doing just corporate life. They have a social life, they have a personal life, they have hobbies. So they are defining the structure which people earlier did not have. Earlier, people used to have office, home, and that's it. But people like you who are actually creating a niche for yourself. So we want to showcase your life. We want to showcase that yes, success used to be let's say a title or a package, but yes, today with that there are so many other things. So happiness has a new meaning now for everyone. And post pandemic, I think that this meaning has evolved more. Exactly.
Absolutely. I will add one more thing to what you just said. You're absolutely right. My personal observation is that, see, everything that we know, right, has already been established to a certain extent. New thought comes to you when you have multiple fields coming together.
True.
So if you only keep reading about or only keep studying about one thing, right, then what happens is that एक stagnation हो जाता है.
Correct.
Right? The only way to break that stagnation is to have multiple things going for you. And I'll give you a classic example. Okay. I was in Egypt. I was working with a client. My team was wanting to present something to the client. Okay. they were thinking about, अच्छा इसको हम कैसे present करें? What was the way? Because it was a difficult client. It was not very easy. Okay,
Sure.
and they were trying to. I mean, being a consultant, our job is like a doctor, right? You have to tell the
Sure.
bad news,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So
Sure.
you're thinking about how do you do it? And I happened to be in the hotel lobby. I was sitting there, and
Hmm.
in Egypt there is a lot of gemology.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
picked up a magazine, and I was just
Hmm.
going through waiting for stuff to happen, and
Hmm.
we
Hmm,
had a
hmm.
presentation coming up after I think 2 weeks time,
Okay.
right? And but this was continuously on my mind कि भाई client को कैसे बताएं. I
Hmm.
was going through the gemology one, and you see, some of you probably know. I mean, I am not into gemology, but it was very interesting. What it says is that how do you find whether this is a good gem or not? There are four C's for a gem, for a diamond.
Right.
Okay, it's called the cut. It's called
Cut.
the carat,
Hmm,
right?
hmm.
Uh,
Color.
it's got color, and it's one more thing I forget. I think clarity,
Clarity. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I said, this is a beautiful framework. ये framework को उठा के we will use it for our presentation.
Wow.
What
Wow.
I'm presenting to you. So my argument needs to have clarity.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
It needs to be less color, which means that it needs to be unbiased,
Hmm, 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 hmm.
right? It needs to be well cut, which means that it needs to be presented in the right manner, like
Correct.
one after
Correct.
the other, as a designer. And it needs to have carry, it needs to have weight,
Correct.
which means it
Correct.
needs to have material impact to the client.
Hmm, 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 hmm.
So we
Wow.
designed the entire thing around this, and it went pretty well. So my point to you is that these are two completely unrelated fields, right?
Correct. Correct.
But when you pick them together, there is generally something new, something interesting that comes up.
Hmm. But that needs to come from the experience which you have. And now I can see that this experience you're using in your personal life and from your personal life to your professional life. So
True.
that bridge is very important to have.
Sometimes too much. I'm so much in frameworks that anytime somebody asks something, then I start putting it in a framework. Right? My family gets tired of me putting things in framework.
No, no, which is a good anecdote to use because unless and until we put things into parameters, we'll not be able to measure it. So yes, so
Absolutely.
so what we wanted to know is that a very very cliched question which we are asking to all our speakers is
Okay.
that let's say it's again 1980s and you're again a 20-year-old handsome boy from Maharashtra. What is it that given the current situation, given the current technology and all the technology which is at our disposal today comes to you? What will Shrikant do and what is Shrikant planning to do if he gets everything and the youth back? I'm not saying you are not youth, you are youthful, but you get 20 years back.
Thank you, Gaurav, for that backhanded compliment. No, but that's a. Uh, well, I think I will spend more time in making friends.
Uh, okay.
Because when I was, I mean, when I was at 20, right,
Mm.
which is kind of the second, third year of college, right?
Right.
The
Right.
kind of friends I've made there
Mm-hmm.
are the friends that have stuck with me for life,
True. True.
right? And actually, that is the time. And I wish at that point of time I would have paid more attention to the relationships that I was building. I didn't, right?
Right.
And therefore, I mean, I don't have too many, close friends that I can talk to, right? And
Right.
I wish that if I am at 20s, then I would. And I'm not talking just about technology. Of course, with Instagram
Mm-hmm.
and Facebook and all, you are more connected. But I think it's just that, right? To have more, do more with people, right? Build
Correct.
those
Correct.
relationships and nurture them.
Mm.
So I think what I will, if I meet myself again, right, for who is 20 years, I'll probably say that maybe you should spend some time. I absolutely did not pay attention to the relationship that got built, and then they did not remain, right? They did
Right.
not,
Right.
because you have to
Right.
you have to invest in relationships, right? You have to keep
Correct.
them
Correct.
going. So I would probably do that. If I don't know whether that was the answer that you were looking for, but hopefully that's something that the problem is that after that, once you start working, once you start growing in the hierarchies in the organization,
Right.
every interaction you have,
Mm.
right, has an agenda,
Correct.
stated or
Correct.
unstated. right? And then that's one of the reasons, right, Gaurav? I'm enjoying talking to you because we've met without any agenda, right? I mean, we were biking together. That's so much there. But ये थोड़ा rare होता है, कम होता है, right? I mean, once people start doing it, right, you have to now find, avenues to do that.
Exactly.
Which is one of the reasons why we do trekking and biking and going on adventures, going on solo rides. Why do we do that? It's so that we can find more people, right? And interact with them. But when you are in college, right, that's the time when you are making your bones, right? That is the time when you have the opportunity to do that, right? And I would just say, if I was there again, I would seize with
that
both
opportunity.
hands.
Awesome. Yeah, the answer is up, as in that is what you feel, and that is what I think that the audience would also connect to this, because unless we have that camaraderie, unless we have that relationship or that network, I don't think that we'll be able to have that bonding and that, because once a sapling is put in some, let's say, a college, parents have already done that. Then it is your peers, your friends, you grow with them.
Not just that, but you're going through shared experiences, right, which are important at that point of time of your growing, right? Your entire mind space, right, is kind of getting built around it. So when you make friends in that, when you make networks in that network stays for a long time, and it kind of stays with you forever.
Correct.
So I would say, I mean, for the listeners who are at that age, if you are, maybe spend some more time, a little bit more time in just building that network. Don't just rely on Facebook and Insta and all of that. Just do things together, right?
Go one-on-one connection,
right? Go on trips. Do some, whatever. I mean, a little NGO work together. Just that little thing, right, will remain with you forever. And then, you will 20 years from now, you will be able to connect with each other better.
That one-on-one connect. That is what you're saying. Awesome. Great. Another cliched question, as we are seeing that we are exploring each other, we are exploring we are literally opening up the onion skin. So if let's say today you win Kaun Banega Crorepati, you get 7 crores in your account without tax, and which is like $1 million in your account. What is it that Shreekant would want to do with that money, or let's say invest, or whatever you want to do with that money?
But to tell you honestly, 1 million is too less at this time.
True.
1 million used to be something, right? Now
yes.
But anyway, I mean, to answer, here is where my framework kind of thing goes in. All right, I will break up that money into 8 parts. Okay.
Wow.
4 out of those 8 parts I will use in production and distribution for COVID-related vaccines, medicines, aftercare, all of it, right? I'm not saying this is not an NGO thing. I will benefit from it. I'm not saying that I will do. I'm not giving it out in charity.
Right.
That's a real problem that the world currently has, right? And if I have the money, I'll be foolish not to, use that money for. Right. Of course, for betterment for everybody, but at the same time, right? It's something that needs to be done.
Okay. Yes.
Right?
Yes, it does.
2 parts I will use to. So I have always been extremely passionate about education and communication. Okay. Right now, I just finished a class with IIM Nagpur. I teach in 5 different MBA schools. That is one more thing that you probably. So I teach in IMI, IIM Nagpur, SP Jain, NDI, and then one more Flame University in Pune. So there are, and then we keep doing some of those things: service operations, service innovation, right, those kind of things. So I have been very passionate about it. Apart from my job, for the last 15 years, I've been teaching in different places. So I would probably spend some money, right? So that 2 out of 8 I will spend on just education and communication, because my belief is that in general in our society, most of the problems that we have, right? Most of them, right? Maybe 70, 80, Pareto principle, right? So we will probably find that most of it is related to education, not having the right education, not having the right communication.
Correct.
Right? So I'll probably spend some money on that. The remaining 2 pieces, 1 piece is for my family, 1 piece is for me.
Okay.
Right. So I would probably use that to, I mean, since we know I will spend that on food and travel. Those are the things that give me pleasure. Right. So I have a bucket list of things that I have to still visit, right? Places that I still have to go to. Probably use it there.
Great, great. Perfect. So, Shreekant, anything you would want to say to our audience? Our audience are the people who are actually looking out for some kind of tips and tricks which you have already shared, some kind of anecdotes or any I'll say a flyer which says that these are the things which you need to do to be successful. Or if you follow this framework, maybe you will get find success. I'll use the word framework now.
um, and this might sound, I mean, I'm very old, right? So I have very old-fashioned thoughts. Um, but I think the one thing that that helps you, kind of makes you human, makes you, differentiates you, is the ability to read. Right? Doesn't matter what you read. It can be anything, right? It can be novels. It can be, right, whatever, right? Just keep reading, right? And I have a theory around it also, right? Since you asked for a framework, I will tell you a framework. Treat reading like eating. Okay. Right? It's like having a balanced diet. Right. You need to have proteins, you need to have carbs, you need to have fats, and you need to have vitamins. Okay. Think about when you read, right? What does it do to you, right? Does it give you some, skills? Then it's like a protein, right? Yes. If it gives you resilience, right? You read things like, philosophy, things like, I don't know. I mean, each one of us have a different bend of mind. But whatever makes it. So when you read it, you feel, okay. So these are the things. So carbs are the things that will come handy when you are down, right? Things, when the chips are down, when, and then all of us are going to face some of the other challenges, right? So that's the carbs, right? To a certain extent, if we talk about what did I miss? Fats. So fats are really required for you to kind of you to remain healthy, to burn things, right? So these could be management books or whatever, right? That kind of keeps you going in the market, right? Being in there, right? And then vitamins. These are essential. This is general. For me, it's humor. Right. That human connect. So yeah, I mean, so read whatever whatever you enjoy reading, right? Read Saki, read PG Woodhouse, read whatever humorist that you like, right? Hindi, it could be English, doesn't matter, right? After a point of time, and actually one of the things that I've started to see, my entire education happened in Marathi, right? So I learned English by reading and by speaking and so on, right? My English was my third language. Okay. So over time, there is that, little bit of a thing for people that, about language. My suggestion, we don't worry too much about it. Whatever language, one language you accept. Correct. Then what happens is that your thoughts start getting formed. Then those thoughts can easily, your brain is capable enough to translate it into different languages. Correct. So that becomes so I'm not asking you to read only English. I'm just saying read anything, whatever you like. Just try to see if you can break it down into these four, kind of ways. And whenever you're reading something, so the point is also don't read too much of fast food. Right. Like magazines or something like that. Yeah, don't read the McDonald equivalent, right? Because that is only adding to the bad part, right? It's not. So try to think about whatever I'm reading. Is it falling under these four categories? If you think that it is, over time, right, you will be able to evaluate that yourself. I think that would be one thing I would like to say. Awesome. No, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. It actually does resonate with our theme also, because Indie Thoughts is actually a kind of supplement, or it is a kind of direction which we would want to give to our listeners, is how to move in the structured way in a corporate world, and how to take that knowledge from people who are already doing that. So like yourself. And you asked this earlier also, and a lot of people, kind of students, typically come to me, and there is generally this career advice, right, that keeps happening.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in general, my suggestion would be, although I know it sounds very cocky when I'm looking at it from this side, the question is that if you have the choice, right, look for skills, right?
True.
If you are able to, because I mean, we live in a world which has 7.5 billion people. You
True.
live in a country which has 1.2 billion people, right?
True.
Competition is started from the day you are born,
True.
right?
True. True.
If you are in a job market, what differentiates one candidate from another is nothing but the skills. So
Correct.
wherever you are, right, whatever you are doing, as long as you're building skills, right, keep tab on how many skills you are building. And the question is that a unique skill?
True.
Is that a different skill? Right? If there is a unique different skill, and this is classic example is look at, in China, speaking in English is a unique skill.
Correct.
People who speak in English do so much better, right?
Correct.
That is the same logic here in India, right? Look at the skills, find out if there is a unique skill. Try to build. Don't go with skills that are already there. And this is one of the things that I keep telling people, right? I mean, people keep asking me, should I do project management training? Right? Should I do Six Sigma training? And nothing wrong about it. My only question is that is it adding a unique skill to you, a rare skill? If it is not, then fine, you can add it. You are part of the race then.
Right.
But it is not going to make you stand out.
Mm.
So think about something which is unique. I mean, 5 years ago, design thinking was probably unique, right? Today, everybody is doing that. So again, it has become, one of those that, it becomes a must be. It is no
Correct.
longer a delighter. It's no longer something, right? That is unique, that is differential. That is not a USP. So keep looking for USPs. I think that is one of the things that I would probably tell people to. I'm not very good at giving advice because as you can know, I'm very unsure of myself. Okay. So when it comes to that, but hopefully this is helpful.
So after being so unsure, if you're saying you have been so successful doing so many things and still you're saying you're unsure, so that is actually being very humble, I'll say. So that's another trait of yours which you're hiding. That's being so much humble. So thanks a lot, Shreekant. Thanks a lot for giving an opportunity to talk to you in a depth and getting to know you much more better. I think our audience will really like your anecdotes, your frameworks, how you have put your life, how you have put the birthday as a milestone for targeting something in your life. In fact, I'll also start doing that. So that's a takeaway for me.
Don't stress yourself, right? Just keep something light, right? Start off with something light. भाई कुछ लिख दूंगा कुछ एक post डाल दूंगा, right? Even if you do that, you start getting a sense of achievement. The idea is not to get under. There is already enough pressure in our life.
Right.
So you can't be pressurizing yourself more.
Correct.
But yes, put some kind of put a milestone saying, अच्छा birthday के लिए एक कुछ चीज and keep it to yourself. It is not for the world. It is for
Correct. So it's a kind of a New Year resolution which we make.
Yeah,
So
commitment
that
to yourself.
becomes a birthday resolution to us.
Birthday resolution, commitment. It becomes more personal, right? New Year का तो हर कोई करता है. So then it becomes, वो होता है फिर 15 जनवरी तक खत्म हो जाता है. 1 जनवरी को resolution आता है, 15 जनवरी को resolution close हो जाता है.
Correct. I'll go to gym. आज बहुत ठंड है, आज नहीं जाऊंगा, 15 दिन बाद जाऊंगा.
We are all guilty of it, right? But doing it at a birthday becomes very personal, right? And you don't do it at birthday. You do it to reach to the. So that is your deadline, not your starting point.
Correct. So perfect. Great, Shreekant. Thanks a lot again. And let's connect more. We'll be sharing your details, your books details, and the food joint. And
It's on the Amazon. The book is on the Amazon. If you just give myself Shreekant Vijaykar, you will get it. But anyway, the link is something that you can share with the audience, and I'll be very happy to hear your reviews. And then see if there is any. If I'm putting a second edition, then all your suggestions will be welcome.
Sure, perfect. Great. Thanks a lot, Shreekant. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav. All the best, and stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.